All right. First, Mackenzie's mindset. Hi, I have a 2-part question. Do you think smoking or stuff like that makes you ungodly? I think that's something I'm struggling with right now. I feel like I've never been so close to God in my relationship with him, but like people kind of denounce it and be like, well, you're not really following him and worship him because you still smoke and stuff. I just feel like, how can someone else tell me what my relationship is with that, or that I'm not good enough to have a good relationship with him? Now, I love this question because it's honest, and I think you genuinely are like open to learning, and I think that's beautiful. Now, the Bible does talk about being sober-minded. When you say smoking, I'm assuming you're talking about weed. The Bible talks about being sober-minded, and you could look up verses on that. And I just do want to say, like you said, how's anyone to tell me what my relationship with God is? 100%. I agree with that. And God looks at the heart. Now there is a Bible verse about God looks at the heart, but man looks on the outside. And I think this is an important thing to submit to God and ask him what he feels about it. Because the Bible also talks about how people may feel convicted. Somebody may feel convicted about something, and another person, it's totally fine for them to do. But if you feel convicted about it, then it's wrong for you to do. So for example, and I'm not talking about like blatant sin. Like you can't be like, well, I don't have conviction about sleeping with my boyfriend before we get married, so it is what it is. The Bible's pretty clear that is a blatant sin. But with things like this, where it's like the Bible doesn't say don't smoke weed, it does say be sober-minded. That's like kind of where you have to be like, all right, Lord, if this is something that grieves your heart, then help me feel convicted about it. And I submit it to you, and being willing to like actually be submitted and give that up if that is something that you feel convicted for. Going back to the verse where I was talking about how man looks on the outside and God looks on the inside, that is something to keep in mind. If you are proclaiming that Jesus is Lord, but your actions are not aligning, or if it could cause somebody else to stumble, then it is an important thing to be like, it's not worth it. And actually wonder to yourself, like, is smoking worth either grieving the heart of God or making people not feel, or making people feel confused because it's like, oh, well, I don't feel like your actions are lining up to the fact that Jesus is Lord. So I just think ultimately, I love this question, and I say, pray about it, ask for conviction, ask for clarity. And I believe that when you seek God, you will find him.